everyone. Welcome to Reaching for the Moon. Is China winning the space race versus NASA? Well, today we're going to review the progress that China has made in becoming a space exploration leader. Back in the 90s, 5 entities agreed to collectively work on a project referred to as the International Space Station. The 5 entities were NASA, Roscosmos, which is Russia, European Space Agency, ESA, Canadian Space Agency, CSA, and JAXA, which is Japan. China was not invited to be part of the group not because of political reasons, but because the group felt that China did not have any technology to add to the project. Well, times have changed. Since they were snubbed on the ISS project, China set out to become a space exploration power on their own. Now, 30 years later, China is challenging NASA, the US, and other worldwide space entities to become the leader in space exploration. Let's review what China has accomplished in the past 30 years. China has introduced a family of expendable launch system rockets, which they refer to as Long March series rockets. Early on, China had many failures with its Long March rockets. Finally, the faulty issues with the Long March rockets were fixed, and from October 1996 to April of 2009, the Long March rocket family delivered 75 consecutive successful launches, including several major milestones in spaceflight. On 15 October 2003, the Long March 2F rocket successfully launched the Shenzhou spacecraft, carrying China's first astronauts, which they referred to as taconauts, into space. China became the 3rd nation with independent human spaceflight capability after Russia and the US. Since then, the Long March rocket series has now performed more than 450 launches, including missions to low Earth orbit, sun-synchronous orbit, geostationary transfer orbit, and Earth-Moon transfer orbit. The Chang'e 4 spacecraft was launched on 8 December 2018 from Satellite Launch Center and landed on the backside of the moon. All 27 previous moon landings were done on the near side of the moon. Prior to landing on the backside of the moon, China put a communications relay satellite into a loop behind the moon at the Earth-Moon Lagrange Point 2. That's a gravitational balance location from which the spacecraft can exchange signals with both Earth and the moon's far side. Thus, China was able to communicate with the Chang'e 4 lander while it was on the moon's surface, another first for China. China's next mission, the Chang'e 5, was the first lunar sample return mission since the Soviet Union Lunar 4 mission in 1976. China became the 3rd country to return samples from the moon after the US and Soviet Union. China has stated its goal is to land taconauts on the lunar surface by 2030. More recently, China launched a lander, a rover, and an orbiter on a mission to Mars. After a 7-month journey to Mars, all 3 components of the mission worked properly. The rover stopped working after about a year of operation. Analysis was that its solar panels got covered with Mars dust and stopped charging. The orbiter is still sending signals from Mars. Most recently, China launched its Tiangong space station. China added 2 more modules to the core Tianhe module, the Wenshin and the Mention Lab modules, and announced plans to add more modules. China has been sending a crew of 3 taconauts for 6-month missions and plans to do so for the next 10 years. China plans to launch its space telescope named Zhushan in 2024. Zhushan will be in an orbit near the Tiangong space station. This will allow Zhushan to dock periodically with the Tiangong space station for maintenance by the onboard taconaut. China recently announced a new state-of-the-art wind tunnel. This tunnel is based in the mountains north of Beijing and reputedly the world's fastest. The wind tunnel can simulate the environment in which a spacecraft re-enters the environment. China stated that the goal of the JF2 JF-22 wind tunnel is to accelerate the development of a space-to-Earth shuttle system. Here's a short video on the new wind tunnel.
China's world-leading hypervelocity wind tunnel, which is expected to significantly contribute to the country's development of aerospace transport systems and hypersonic aircraft, recently passed an acceptance check, marking the success of the project. The National Natural Science Foundation of China organized an acceptance check meeting about the JF-22 hypervelocity wind tunnel at the Institute of Mechanics of the Chinese Academy of Science in Beijing, the institute said in a press release on Saturday. A delegation of 16 experts from various institutes and organizations unanimously approved the acceptance check, noting that the project team finished the development and reached its research goals on time and completely, with the wind tunnel reaching world-leading levels in terms of comprehensive performance parameters including effective experiment time, total temperature, total pressure and the size of the nozzle flow field, according to the press release. Sponsored by the National Natural Science Foundation of China and undertaken by the Institute of Mechanics of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, the JF-22 hypervelocity wind tunnel is a major national scientific research instrument development project. The project was launched in 2018, and in 5 years it led to the construction of a super-large experiment instrument with a length of 167 meters, a nozzle exit of 2.5 meters and a test cabin diameter of 4 meters. Capable of testing airflows of 3 to 10 kilometers a second, or as high as Mach 30, the wind tunnel can powerfully support the development of China's aerospace transport systems and hypersonic aircraft, the press release said. The combination of the JF-22 hypervelocity wind tunnel and the previously developed JF-12 reproduction wind tunnel has become the only ground experimental platform that can cover all flight ranges for near-space aircraft, the institute said in the press release. Project leader Zhang Zhonggulan said on China Central Television in August 2021 that aerospace aircraft reduce the launch cost of satellites and spacecraft by 90%, while hypersonic aircraft will be able to fly at Mach 5 to 10 and arrive at any location in the world within 1 or 2 hours.
Impressive. As you can see by their accomplishments, China has become a power in space exploration. NASA's plan is to land astronauts on the moon by 2025 or 26 with its Artemis program. If the criteria for selecting who's the leader in space exploration based on who lands the next astronauts on the moon, NASA has a slight lead. However, any slight mistake by NASA could create an opportunity for China to take over being space exploration leader. Well, that brings us to the close of our discussion of China's space exploration accomplishments. As you can see, they've really come a long way. If you like the video, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button to be notified every time Reaching for the Moon publishes a new video. Thank you for watching, and remember, failure is not an option. Bye.